Hi, I'm Mike, and today we're working on a 2001 Chevy Cavalier, and the problem that it's having is it has a C1234 code, and what that stands for is it means that this wheel sensor is bad. And if you take a look here, it actually comes as an assembly with the wheel hub bearing and the ABS wheel speed sensor is connected. So if one or the other goes bad, you can't, unfortunate, because you're gonna have to buy it as an assembly. In order to remove this wheel bearing hub assembly, what you're going to need to do is remove the 4 nuts that are on the back here, and these bolts. There's 4 bolts that go through here, and it's a T50 Torx. And what you're going to need is you're going to need a bit with an extension like this, and then you got to go through this hole here and line it up and get to it. There's going to be 4 of them, so you're going to have to keep turning this and doing one at a time. And the nuts in the back are 15 millimeter.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start by removing this plug here that goes to the ABS sensor, like that. I'm gonna disconnect it from here to get it out of my way. Like that.
So now I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up the 4 bolts that are holding this assembly on, and these T50 Torx, they're a little rusty, and it's hard to get that bit seated in there. So what you do is, when you come across a situation like this, you get it in there in the right orientation. And you want to tap it a few times to get it seated in there so it has a good grip. You just want to loosen them up a little bit. I'm experiencing a little difficulty removing these bolts because they're a little tight, and I don't want to strip out the T50 Torx headed bolt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little heat with this MAP gas little torch here.
Here it is.
These nuts are lock nuts, so when they get rusted, they're even more tighter and harder and difficult to remove. So with the advantage of applying a little heat, it really makes the job go a lot easier as far as removing the hardware.
Okay, what I did was I loosened these nuts back here about 1/8 of an inch out. And the reason why I didn't take them all the way out is because I gotta separate this hub wheel assembly from this backing plate. And this backing plate's actually sandwiched in between the hub and the knuckle, and it has a steel rigid line here. I'm trying to prevent from damaging it, so I gotta hit it out with a hammer. If these bolts weren't in there, there's a good chance this whole thing might come out and damage this line, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I left the nuts on, so this way I can hit it, break this loose from here without this moving too much.
Okay, I'm not having a lot of luck with hitting it with a hammer trying to separate it from the backing plate. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use an air chisel, and the vibration might help to break up the rust a little bit. You get in there, I want to wedge it between the backing plate and the mounting plate of the hub wheel assembly. Right there is a good place.
Try to wedge it in there and see if I can get it to break loose. It looks like it's breaking loose. Come at it from a different angle. Okay, now I'm gonna have to take the nuts all the way out, and then I should be able to pull it right out. Okay, now I'd like to take a minute and explain to you how I solved this problem or how I diagnosed it. What I did was, I did a code. It was a C1234, and that indicates that it's the driver rear wheel speed sensor, low voltage or whatever it was. And the procedure that I did was I checked the ohm and the voltage, and the voltage is the AC current. So I compared it to the one on the passenger side, and the passenger was within spec. It should be about 1 to 2K ohms and about 50 to about 700 milliamps AC current. Only when it's spinning you should get that AC voltage. And so I checked it, I compared it to the driver's side, and the driver's side was like in a mega ohms, you know. So it was, but it was getting the AC voltage that it required, but the ohmage was off. So then that confirmed that this part was bad. Also with the code, it led me to the right wheel. So I compared it to the other wheel, and it was definitely way different. And I'll show you what I mean by the ohm reading. If you look at this meter here, and I'll probe this bad sensor here, and you look, this one is like, it's in the mega ohms, 0.7 mega ohms. And that's extremely high. So that's extremely high resistance. And on a new one, which was comparable to the one that was on the passenger side, so I know that this is good too before I install it. It's in a K, it's a kilo ohms. So it's only like 1 kilo ohm. So it's a world of difference between the resistance there, and that's enough to confirm that this is a bad part. Also with the code, and comparing it to the other side. So now I'm confident that we're changing the right part. Okay, at this point you're ready to install the new part. But before you do that, you're gonna wanna make sure that you clean this area pretty good. And if there's any burrs that you did from a chisel, you wanna make sure you knock them down with sandpaper or a file, whatever it takes to get it smooth again. And reassembly is pretty much straightforward. Just the opposite of the removal. And after that, you should be good to go.